Okay, so I recorded this video originally, and the majority of it doesn't have audio for me, which is kind of odd. Uh, so I'm not going to go into it as long as before. So before I did a live reaction of her video exposing her husband, the things that he did, and I kind of questioned it a little bit. Whenever somebody comes out when they are being harmed by somebody they care about or love, I'm assuming she loved him, since they've been together for a long time. But sometimes I kind of question that, because the whole motive of the relationship was pretty much, it seems like, getting to the bag so she could be a trophy wife. Now, if what happened to the kids is true, that's tragic. But there are some things I noticed that are kind of questionable. One, her having a GoFundMe. The other, still not really finding too much of a lawsuit or anything else or charges being pressed when I looked into it. I mean, her name is out there now, and her husband's name is easily accessible to find too. And when I made the video, I haven't looked too much more into it after I did my initial research, but I haven't seen anything else or anybody else putting any new content out saying this is what's going on with the husband, this is what's being exposed, this is what we know. The only thing we see right now is this her coming online crying. And I said originally that I hope that she would never use her kids in a sense to go ahead and use and gain and access money. But when you look at her previous videos that she has now taken down today, let me back up a little bit. Let's see how she benefited from this. Her channel, when I first heard about this situation, had maybe 30,000 subscribers. Now she's doubled that. She has a video up with more than 2 million views. She now has a GoFundMe that has over $7,000 in it. And she's not opposed to getting to the bag, getting what she wants, being taken care of. She even discussed how she had a job that made $90,000, but she's irresponsible for money. Now, nobody is perfect, and you could be a victim and also be kind of stupid. I hate to say it that way, but it's true. If you're just going to throw away a $90,000 wage job just to be taken care of by a man, that's very irresponsible, especially a man you barely knew, that you didn't even know for a week. So do I empathize with her and her kids? Absolutely. But the one thing I do kind of question is, did she take down her videos now because she is going to try to sue her husband? Because if you think about it, if you go look at her past videos, there was no mention of her husband raping her within the first few months of them being married. She exposed that in the video too, in which right there should have been a sign to leave. I mean, if I understand when you're married, you're supposed to be intimate with your spouse, but if they're raping you, especially within the first few months, when you met them and you didn't choose to leave at that particular time, that's extremely irresponsible of you as a mother. So what did you expect? You thought things would get better? It doesn't make any sense. And she talks about maturity for her age, but maturity, quote unquote, does not equal wisdom. And clearly she didn't talk to any older women or men that probably would have told her, hey, if this man is really doing this to you, you need to leave. No bag is worth this. However, we didn't get this from her. So everybody's feeling sorry for her. And we have this big habit of rallying behind people that are victims. And we don't always know the full story. And not everything is as it seems. We've seen that time and time and time and again, where more and more things are getting exposed about people. So is this just the next script for her? I hope it's not. But if a woman told me that a man she barely knew, she got married to within a week, and within 4 months, she got raped multiple times, but she still continued to stay with him and have kids with him, I will question her mental capacity and her maturity and her motherly instinct to even have the kids. So that's my other point, is I think that's probably why she took down the videos, just for the fact that she is going to try to sue this man to get justice for her kids, which she should if it did happen. Then, she probably took it down just to make sure that it can be used against her in a court of law. So let me go ahead and show how I initially found about this and watch a few videos together, whoever still here when it comes to this.
So early this morning, I watched this woman's YouTube video where she disclosed that her husband raped their 4-year-old daughter. And if you look very closely in words, she wrote out that within the first couple of months of them being married, he actually raped her 4 times.
And right there should have been a clue to go ahead and leave. If the person you with raped you 4 times, why are you still there? This is why I have issue with victims sometimes, because is it really a victim you choose to say?
Now, as you can see, her entire platform is based off of her being a new trophy wife and her teaching other women how to become one as well. So, of course, I went to some of her previous videos to see how her and the guy actually met. And lo and behold, SheraSeven was the guiding tool when it came to her choosing her spouse. So her and her husband first met online. It didn't work out. She ended up meeting another guy whom she moved herself and her 2 kids into his home because he was paying all of the bills. Once she realized that he was just kind of tolerating the kids and she really didn't see a marriage coming, she decided to end things. Now, during that process, her now husband contacted her to see how she was doing. She told him that she had just ended things with her then boyfriend and was moving out of the home, and her 2 boys were going to be needing a place to stay. So she was asking him if he could volunteer his place of residence. Now, surprising to her, he said that the only way that he would do that is if they got married. And she was so ecstatic that she bought him a ring first to make sure that he was serious. Now, keep it in mind, not only was she a product of rape, but she was also raped by one of her neighbor's husbands. So this isn't something that she's unfamiliar with, but I do believe that on top of her idolizing marriage and being a kept woman, the enemy used that against her. Because here you have this beautiful woman who ends up with this man who's 20 plus years older than her. You move your kids in with him hastily. Y'all get married within a year. You have 2 kids by him after being raped 4 times within a few months. I mean, it's just so much trauma wrapped up in a beautiful present. But this is why we should never use other people's lives as a guide on how we should live ours. Because you never know what's going on behind closed doors, clearly. And as a mother myself who is unmarried, speaking to other unmarried mothers, marriage is not a need, it is a want. That was never a promise that God gave us. It was an option. And although you may desire it, you should always move with grace, discernment, but never out of desperation. My prayers goes out to this woman, her daughter, and their family, and I hope this man rots in jail. Y'all have a great day. Peace.
So when it comes to me, I just want to add that I do think that marriage is let me rephrase. I think marriage should be a requirement. There's a sense of regret sometimes when you have been promiscuous when you're younger years and you do find a person that you eventually want to be with, and you got to answer the question of how many people you've been with, because it's going to come eventually if you're going to be serious with that person. And the thought of sometimes you got to expose yourself and tell how much you have done or how many people you've been with, and hold yourself accountable to the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. That's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. But back to this situation. Yeah, she does say in the video she was a product of rape, and that she herself was also raped, and when she was younger, and now by her husband. And just because somebody is attractive, and you know, Isis is a beautiful woman, extremely beautiful woman, it doesn't necessarily mean that they have it together. I noticed growing up, sometimes the most damaged people are the most beautiful people because they get taken advantage of the most. And I really do empathize with her a lot. And I will hope she wouldn't use her kids to get attention. But just like in that video where Jack My Bias had that you saw her screenshot in the background, had 19,000 followers. Her TikTok now is still up and active. Has over 30,000 subscribers. And I mentioned before, YouTube is double. Her Instagram really hasn't done too much traction, but the only video she has taken down is from her, just recently I saw today, was from her YouTube channel and also from her Instagram, but her TikTok is still up and strong. That could be her best revenue earner. I don't know. But yeah, I'm glad she finally did take down the videos. I kind of wish she would have did it as soon as she had that conversation with the internet about what happened, because you're still going to expose your ex-husband, or excuse me, your current husband. You're still going to expose your husband, but still have all the videos up praising him and telling women how to get this kind of man. And she only took them down recently. That's what makes me kind of question this whole entire situation. I would think you'll probably take all those other videos down first and then have that other one up there. Because for me, somebody like me, I want to look at the whole entire situation, because unfortunately, people do get accused of stuff they really didn't do all the time. And that's just what it is. The world is really messed up. Let's get into how Shera responds to this, though.
I watched the Trophy Wife's video, and as a mom myself, my heart absolutely breaks for her and her family. But I love that this has sparked a conversation about the detriments to the sprinkle mentality.
If anybody marries somebody after 1 week, they dumb. I'm sorry. Sprinkle. If you dumb enough to do that, I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry. But if you're sitting out there, you learned everything from me. Did you learn how to be smart? Did you learn how not to be desperate? You didn't learn from me. Did you hear when I said stop being desperate? Did you hear when I said don't be a pygmisha? Did you hear when I talked about background checks? Did you hear when I talked about all this other stuff? About not dealing with men if you have kids until they're old and grown enough to speak for themselves and be in school and whatnot. Did you not hear when I said all of that? Don't blame me. I tell people all the time, don't say my name if you are desperate and being pygmisha. Don't claim me. If you are desperate and you're not smart enough to get the bag, flip the money, have options. If you stupid, don't claim me. If your IQ is low, please don't claim me. I teach women to be smart, not desperate. If you're
So that was SheraSeven. I didn't know that was the woman that started the whole entire sprinkle thing. I just heard men talking about drizzle, and that kind of this was in response to sprinkle, but I didn't realize that was her that started that. But her response was pretty cold though. And she was calling her all kinds of names, not really too much empathy there. And that's kind of the mindset I have, in a sense that, getting married to somebody after a week, that's not smart, especially when you have kids. I remember when I met the woman I got married to. Now, we're not married anymore, but when I met her, I'm a single father. I've been a single father. I raised my daughter by myself her whole entire life. So it's just been me and her up until I got married, and then that didn't work out, obviously. But when I met the woman I decided to marry, I told her, like, hey, I'm a single dad. I'm not saying that to try to scare you off or to attract you, because some women tend to like men with kids. It's just the fact that, I'm a single dad. I'm very particular and careful about who I have around my daughter. I don't want you to meet her anytime soon, which kind of worked for her, because she was kind of on the same timing as I was, that she had 2 kids herself, and she didn't want me to meet her kids just yet either. She wanted to, us just get to meet and know each other and things of that nature. And I remember when she met my daughter, it was at work in March, on her birthday actually. And when I met her kids, I didn't get to meet her son at that particular moment, but I did get to meet her daughter, because her daughter was there with her. And I just introduced myself, and that was it. So I didn't try to talk to her or anything else. And then eventually we got me and my ex-wife, we got engaged and married. And then I remember I was talking to my stepdaughter about my first interaction with her, and she said she thought I was weird because I didn't try to talk to her, interact with her. And I looked at her and I said, you know what? That's actually kind of a good thing, because you gotta be careful of men that try to be too much in your face, try to get your attention too much. I said, you're a young girl. I'm dating your mom. I have no reason to really talk to you. If things work out with me and your mom, obviously they did, our relationship would naturally grow. That's what comes with time. I'm not going to sit there and try to be your best friend and just try to be in your face all the time to try to get you to like me, because that's a manipulation tactic that a lot of men will try to do to get a hold of a woman, or just to get into get a little too close to you. So if a man if you ever have kids, hopefully you'll be married. But if you have kids and things don't work out with their child's father, and you start dating, be careful of men that try to be too close to your children too fast. And that's something I had to tell to her, and I told my daughter that too, because there's no reason for a man to be trying to be that involved with a kid that fast. Again, you should focus on a relationship between the two parents first, and then from there it will grow naturally. And I had an amazing relationship with my stepkids. It was hard because you're a step parent. It's going to be hard, but it couldn't have been any better with my connection with them. But yeah, so that should have been a red flag there. Anyways, let me get back to how she actually met her husband.
And I learned quickly that just because someone looks like they have it together does not mean that they have it together. And typically the things that person is probably doing to get money is not sustainable, and probably not something that you would want to be involved in. And after learning quickly that everything that glitters is not gold, I happened to come across SheraSeven on YouTube, and she completely changed my life. And she basically taught me what a high value man is and what to look for when trying to find a husband. So I ended up taking my sister's advice and signing up for eHarmony. Yeah, she recommended Match, but in my spirit, I felt eHarmony. I don't know why.
And let me comment on that. Not every single spirit that talks to you is a good spirit. That's where discernment comes into play.
Just something told me to do that one. So I ended up signing up for eHarmony. I created a profile, and I think the second person that I matched with was the man that I'm married to now, my husband, my wife. And it was very different. My husband and I have a 20-year age gap, and he was not the first older man that I dated. I actually dated someone like 10 years older than me, and that was just a bust. A lot of people have told me that I'm very mature for my age, so someone 10 years older than me just wasn't a big enough age gap.
Now, I always found that kind of concerning. Someone 10 years older than you was not a big enough age gap. You seem kind of mature for your age, but let's go ahead and continue.
For me to vibe with, it just wasn't. Yeah. So when I met my husband, I knew right away almost, and people say that, but it was definitely true. I know it sounds cliche. Just from our first date, it just felt natural. I felt like I just had known this person already. It was so comfortable. So we went to a really nice seafood restaurant, and it was great. It was an amazing first date, and mind you, I think we both were kind of just dating different people at the time, and that's definitely something that I recommend if you're looking to, find a husband, is not just dating one person at a time. It's not good to put all your eggs in one basket, but we had a great first date, and I think he ended up asking me to be his girlfriend on the first date, and I said I would think about it. I know that the universe guru talks about how you shouldn't fall into the girlfriend trap, and it was kind of something that I just intuitively knew, like, I'm not just gonna agree to be your girlfriend just after meeting you, because I know that you just want me to be your girlfriend so that you can get in my pants. So I didn't agree, and we both were, we were talking, but then for some reason we kind of stopped talking for a little while, and we both were dating other people and doing our own thing, and then I had gotten into a serious relationship with somebody, and I ended up falling for the girlfriend trap, but
I guarantee the other person that she fell into a relationship with was probably more attractive and younger.
that guy had really been investing a lot into me and doing a lot for me, so I kind of felt like I had to agree to be his girlfriend because he asked me multiple times, and I finally agreed. So after me and him broke up, well, let me rewind. So me and him ended up breaking up because he just didn't really vibe with my oldest son, who was 5 at the time. I could tell that he was really just putting up with my kids. He didn't really embrace them. Sometimes, we as mothers can tell like someone's just being nice to our kids for the purpose of being with you, and they're not necessarily invested in your kids.
That comment right there didn't age well at all. And keep in mind, she's already been married for a little while this time she's making this video, which means that her husband has already raped her when she's made this video multiple times when they first got married. Now, I'm not trying to victim blame here, but she does hold some responsibility when it comes to her judgment and her life choices.
Themselves, and that's what I felt like from him. So it just didn't feel good. It didn't feel like a family, the kind of family that I was wanting. So I ended up breaking up with him, and we were living together. We were living together, and I just like packed all my stuff and left. And it was crazy because the next day my now husband, reached out to me and was like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And
this is where it goes on what I was talking about earlier, that they should really, the attention of the man seems like it wasn't necessarily him trying to connect with your son right away. It was more focusing on a relationship with you. When I hear that story, that's the way she tells it. She tells it he wasn't trying to connect with my son. He didn't connect with my son. Maybe it was just a fact that he was trying to connect with you and had the same mindset like I did. Yeah, I'm going to, me and you connect, then I'll connect with your kids later. That's my mindset when I hear this. But with her, she was like, oh, well, I'm looking for an excuse. He's not connecting with my son right away. Let me go ahead and just go. You see, it's very erratic and immature behavior, even though she says she's mature for her age. And that's what I'm saying. She holds a lot of accountability for her own actions.
I told him, I just got out of a relationship, and I kind of told him a little bit about why, and he was telling me like, oh, those are my boys, and he had genuinely really connected with my kids, and he was not the kind of man that was just be nice to them to get to me. Like, it was very genuine, and that was one of the things that I really loved about him. That was something that stood out about him versus the other men that I had dated, was he really embraced the fact that I had children because he wanted children. And so, he was talking, my lease was going to be ending very soon, which is why I went ahead and moved in with my person that had became my ex. We started living together, and I told my husband, I was like, hey, it was so embarrassing to admit, but I was like, I need a place to stay because my lease is ending, and I just broke up with my boyfriend, and maybe even if it's just like for a couple weeks, it's okay. Just while I look for, somewhere else, because I hadn't planned on needing to find somewhere else.
Putting a man in a position like this is kind of messed up in a way. Because for me as a man, if a woman came to me saying, hey, me and my boyfriend broke up, I have my kids, my lease is up, I need a place to stay, a lot of men are going to try to help in that situation, right? Because she's telling it a very calm, demure, whatever way she is right now. we don't know how she told her current husband on that situation. She could have said, hey, this man just threatened me and my kids. I'm desperate. I need help, crying, all kinds of stuff. We don't know. We just have this little cutesy story right here. But let's be real here. We all know how relationships go. A lot of people manipulate details and facts to get what they want out of people. And again, she wanted to be a kept woman.
And he was saying, well, if you're going to live with me, it's going to be as my wife, not as my girlfriend. And I was like, well, how spontaneous are you? And he laughed and he said, very spontaneous. So then I was like, right. So we started entertaining the idea of getting married, like immediately. And I, didn't want to get my hopes up. So I just said that, he's saying all these things, but I'm going to see what action that he takes. And so I had just got paid and I was like, okay, it seems like we're really talking about seriously entertaining the idea of getting married. So I'm going to go and get the wedding ring. We were talking about getting married like the next week, and he was out of town in Colorado, so we hadn't seen each other. This is all talk over the phone, over FaceTime. So I went and got his ring. I think I paid like $300 for it. It wasn't like a super flashy ring like the one he has now, which is completely a lot better. But I went and got his ring, and the next time we talked on FaceTime, I was like, I did something. And he was like, what did you do? I was like, I got your wedding ring. So he was like, no, you didn't. Show me. So I showed him. I said, yeah, I actually did it. I don't know if you were really being serious, but we're talking about getting married. So I had a really bad habit of like spending money, and I was like, if I don't get the ring now, then I'm not gonna get it. So I went ahead and got it.
The only other time I heard about stories like these where women in a very big rush to get married is normally when you're dealing with women from like the Philippines. They're quick to be in a relationship, they're quick to be married, and all this other kind of stuff. That's the only other time I heard of this kind of mindset. It's kind of weird to me. Again, she barely knows this man. She has kids, and she wants to get married. And she's pushing for this marriage. I mean, she holds a lot of accountability here. And I really do think that's why she took down a lot of these videos, because it doesn't paint her in the best light.
And that put the fire under him to, I guess, really go and look for my ring. Well, let me rewind. So then after that, I think it was like the next day, somebody told me to go online and check my eHarmony profile. So I went on there and I saw that he had updated his picture, and I was like, oh no, this dude is playing around. Like, I'm glad I didn't spend a whole bunch of money on this ring. Like, he was just playing. And I screenshotted it and sent him a picture, and I said, it doesn't seem like we're on the same page, so yeah, I'm done with this. And he texted me. He was like, or I think he tried to call me and I didn't answer. And he texted me and he was like, no, I'm serious. I am going to marry you, in caps. And I think that evening he like ended up going and buying my ring. Yeah, he went and bought my ring. And the ring that he got me is not the ring I had now. It was a nice ring, but it wasn't nearly as big as the rock that I'm currently sporting.
And you see the glee and pride in her eyes about having a bigger ring. Again, you never really hear her talk about the relationship itself. How good of a man he is, how responsible he is, how he helped her grow. It's just more about getting married and getting the ring. Where is the relationship talk? Marriage is about two people becoming one. That's not here. It seems like more or less she was just looking for her daddy.
He showed it to me. In my head, I said, it's not about the ring, it's about the marriage. And I definitely think that that's something that you ladies should keep in mind, is that if a man is going to propose to you, don't make it about the ring, because that can really turn a man off and make him think that that's all that you care about is having a big ring, when it's more important to have the marriage. And I knew that in my heart. I was like, all right, I'm not going to say anything about the size of the ring. You know, it's still a nice ring. I'm going to take it and we're going to get married. So we ended up getting married the next week. Everybody was shocked. I randomly called my mom, my grandmother, hey, I'm getting married in a few days. We got married at the courthouse because I told him I don't need a big wedding. I'd, rather spend that money elsewhere. And we had a really beautiful wedding reception in DC.
And yet nobody told her, girl, are you stupid? Not one grandma, auntie, or anybody told her that she was this slow.
Really nice restaurant. It was gorgeous. So yeah, that is how I ended up getting married. But I think that also something that I want to let you guys know is that becoming his wife and really being the kind of woman that could just get a ring like that took work. At that time, I had
again, just talking about the ring, this is just crazy to me.
Really become a better version of myself, a better version than the woman that was dating thugs and living in some kind of secular lifestyle. I had to become the kind of woman that a man would want to take around his colleagues and his mother and be the woman that's adding value to him, just like.
I would love to see a picture of the previous men that she has dated, because I did try to look it up when I looked at her Instagram and her Facebook and things of that nature. I did not see not one picture of a guy she dated previously, nor a picture of her husband. In some of her videos, or the older videos you can't really see them now, you'll see a picture of her husband in the background, their wedding day. But I'm just kind of curious the kind of man she dated before and what they have to say about the situation, because I know they had to hear about it by now.
Standing next to him. But yeah, I know it's kind of a interesting story, but I also helped two of my sisters to get married. They both got married in less than a year as well. So I'm really good at knowing how to get women the ring and to get the kind of men that you would be proud of. So if you ladies are
to get the ring, it just sounds like she's playing a sport. And now she won her championship. Now she's a coach.
Interested in learning more about how to become a trophy wife, then please click subscribe. I would love to have you here. Stay tuned. We are going to be giving all the tips, all of the information that you need to become the best version of yourself, to level up and become the woman not only of your dreams but of his. So I will see you ladies next time. Please comment, subscribe, like. All right, well,
okay, so here's the thing. Let me do this. Let me go back to this and let me show you a few things right quick. Her Instagram now has double the following. Instagram, I said Instagram, I thought it was TikTok. This is Instagram, excuse me. And now she has a GoFundMe. The GoFundMe was $1. Now it's up to $7,715 as of this morning. Because I want to go ahead and take a look at that. So I saw her post and I was like, oh, okay. And again, I'm not saying that she's lying, but she made a lot of poor decisions to get to this point, and she does hold a lot of responsibility for this. And I hope, and if this is true, I have to say if, because her husband was in charge of anything for what I saw. If this is true, then I really do hope she gets some help for her, especially, definitely her daughters and her sons. Because everybody's going to be impacted, and if he messed around with the dollars, who knows, he could have did the sons too. And that's just a very horrible reality of the situation. anyways, let's go ahead and get into the reveal video. I took myself, I'll look it up.
Hi ladies, hi trophies, welcome back to my channel.
And when she opened the video talking about hi trophies, I'm assuming those are the people that follow her. That's just, why would you care about your branding? And before we get into it even further, I don't understand why she would bring this to the internet at all. That doesn't make any sense to me. I would think that she'll probably put this, I would think in my head, if you're going to put something like this out, do it after the fact that the man has been charged, not before. And yeah, she does have a lot of positive reactions. And again, we tend to rally behind victims and not really look into how they got into the situation, because you could be a victim and a fool at the same time. Yeah, let's go ahead and continue.
Welcome if you're new here. If you hear any noise in the background, that's the new baby. A lot has happened since the last time that I recorded. I think the last time you guys saw me, I was in my second trimester, and yeah, I think I did post an update in the community section when the baby was born, and I said that I would be back soon, and that was a few months ago now. I thought that when I came back on here that it would be to maybe do like some kind of newborn favorites or meet my new baby or something like that, but unfortunately it's been a little over a month since I had to end up leaving my husband. I honestly don't even really know where to start with this, just because it's just such a hard topic. And I honestly thought that by the time I got on here that I wouldn't have any tears left, because I've just cried so much. It's like I built this channel and this whole brand around being this man's wife and trying to teach other women how to attract good men and provider men and all these different things. And I truly held my husband, or saw him as the bar for what.
And that's what's so disturbing about this. She held her husband as the bar after what he has done to her. And again, I'm talking about before she made this video. The whole entire time she held her husband as the bar when her husband raped her. So if one of her trophies came to her and said that, hey, I'm in a relationship, I found a man who's going to take care of me, I'm going to be his trophy wife, but he's doing this to me, how do I deal with it? What would have been her answer? Because it would have been to leave, because she stayed.
Every woman should, the type of man that, or type of husband that every woman should aspire to have. And I didn't realize that the person I married was actually going to be my biggest nightmare. So basically, when I first met my husband, as I've already talked about in another video, I think it was my single mom video, I explained, a little bit about how we met, and I really thought that man was my Prince Charming. So when I first met my husband, I thought that he was my Prince Charming. I thought that he was my knight in shining armor, and he portrayed himself to be this amazing, upright, righteous Christian man. And I believed him.
And I watched a lot of her other videos, and in none of those she really talked about her husband's character at all.
I think shortly after we got married, and this is something that I haven't talked about, I started noticing like certain things changed with him, and I just started to see a few things that I didn't like, but I honestly thought that some of these were things that I could get past.
And up here, I have part of it blocked, but that's when you say he raped me multiple times within a couple month period when they first got married, essentially. So again, she says earlier in this video her husband is the bar, right, of what women should want, even though she wrote in here, because that's that part, I don't know why she added that in there. You see what I mean? It seems very manipulative right there. So you mean to tell me, and I put a video up earlier to where she was talking about how to get the ring and all this other kind of stuff, and how it kind of like she was playing in NBA finals and helping other people become a coach, help other people get the ring. So, and she even said earlier in this video right here that her husband had Christian values and all this other kind of stuff, and she made multiple videos about how to be a trophy wife, branding herself this. But he was a monster the whole entire time, right? This is why you cannot follow these influencers.
It's like sad to even say like I could get past some of these things. I don't even know where to start. 6 weeks ago, I was changing my daughter, my 4-year-old daughter, and I noticed that when I changed her, she was red and very sensitive. And immediately, my first thought was, did someone touch her? Oh God. Gosh. So I asked her, I said, baby, did somebody touch you? And she ended up saying it was daddy. I felt like my world ended on that day. My husband wasn't home at the time when she told me, but I knew he would be coming home soon, so all I could do was just say, don't tell him that you told me. And I just instantly started trying to think of how I could get my kids out of the house. Because I knew if I confronted him or asked him about it, that he would just lie. And that he would probably just continue to keep doing stuff to her, but just become more covert or more sneaky or whatever. As soon as my husband got home, he was actually picking up the boys from school, my two older boys from school. As soon as he got home, I told him that I was gonna go Halloween shopping with my sister because I just needed an excuse to get out of the house with all the kids. And I knew if I said something like, oh, I'm going to the grocery store, that it would be suspicious, like, why am I bringing all the kids, and like packing things, like things that we would need and things like that. So going Halloween shopping was the best thing I could think of to just hurry up and get the kids out of the house. I'm sorry, I had to get myself together.
I mean, I don't care about how you look in this situation if you're telling your story, but why would Halloween shopping be a better excuse?
So when I got to the hospital, they basically told me that we had to go to another hospital because they didn't do physical exams, like that kind of physical exam there. So a police officer escorted the kids and I to another hospital where they were able to evaluate my daughters. It ended up coming out that he had actually been touching both of my daughters, who were only 2 and 4 years old. It still feels like a dream. Like, when this first happened, I just kept waking up every day and just hoping that this was a dream. Because it's literally my worst nightmare. It's my worst nightmare. I myself am a product of RAPE. That's how I came to be. And was also, abused as a child by a neighbor's husband. And I specifically prayed to God that my children would never, ever, ever have to go through this. And I'm just not quite sure how this happened, why this happened. I just don't know how he was able to get away with it and so sneaky, because with my own trauma, I watch my kids like a hawk. Like, I don't like them sitting on people's laps. None of that. And he knows how much I cannot stand men like him. And to think like I couldn't even go to sleep in my own house and know that my children are safe. Just by me going to sleep, my children were left unprotected. So I don't know what the future of this channel is going to be. I don't know if I'm going to change the name or what. Yeah.
Now, she hasn't made another response video or did any updates since she made this initial one. However, though, I did go to her her YouTube and went to the community post. Let me go ahead and get this expanded right quick. Make it large enough for me to read. And I'll go ahead and play it when I did a screen record. Again, more than double her subscribers. Let's see. ISIS. If I need to be bullied, lied on, discredited, or whatever else to bring awareness and put attention on this man's crimes, then so be it. All those calling me a liar will eat their words. It's sick to see those who have so much negative things to say about me and barely anything say about the monster who has committed these acts against me and his children. This is the reason victims stay silent and his cycle continues and continues. And I want to pause right there for a second. I'm not discrediting what he did. In fact, if what he did is true, he needs to be not in a prison, but in the ground. But at the exact same time, there is something to be said when you are a single mother and you make irresponsible choices to pick your kids in the harm's way of this man. If you would have took more time to vet him, to know him, then this wouldn't have happened. Instead of having the goal of the ring, the goal should have been the relationship and the connection with the man. Let's continue. The criminal investigation on my husband began from the time I was in the hospital. I tried to press criminal charges at the same time I filed a protective order against him, but was told I couldn't because the state must do it. Unfortunately, these situations are more common than you think, and because of this, the state is working through many cases in order to get to mine. In these cases, at least in my state, women cannot just press charges for SA. I believe this is unfortunate because women may have not always been truthful in these situations. However, in this case, it is all very true. It's crazy that monsters like this can walk free for weeks, months, and even years sometimes before charges can be before charges or convictions. I can't wrap my head around it. The system must change. I've done everything I can. All that I have left is my YouTube audience. Now, I'm going to pause again for a second. Now, I think it's kind of a good thing that you just can't press charges right away without some type of evidence. Because, yes, like she mentioned in that paragraph I just read, people do make a lot of false claims, and men's lives get ruined for this. Just go on any news site, just go in Google, and you'll see where you'll see teachers doing stuff to kids, and it's normally female teachers doing it to kids. So yes, I haven't heard. I'm kind of curious what state she's in. I forgot, but it's kind of odd. I haven't heard of if you're at a hospital and the kid have redness down there, and that could be proven with a medical report. I would think something should or could be done in that particular case, because it's not just a word, it's medical evidence too. However, though, it's a very touchy situation, because I'll be honest with you, even when a man or woman or anybody has that label of a raper or abuser, especially one of a child, you can't come back from that, even if you're proven completely innocent. And just look at Johnny Depp. He lost everything, and that wasn't even against the kid. Jonathan Majors, he lost everything almost. That wasn't against the kid, and he ran away. There are systems in place, yes, and it's not perfect, but once you get that stigma on you, you can't go anywhere else. So anyways, let's keep reading. Let's see, where was I? Oh, here we go. For all who pretend that I knew this was happening, it's completely untrue and the sickest assumption I've ever heard thus far. I can't believe that this is what you all have come up with. If you call me on a Saturday today, you will hear the same ruckus in the background, because that's what it sounds like with 5 kids in the home. I deleted my videos because I was so tired of being blamed for my daughter's abuse. And when she put daughters, she put a apostrophe S, and I thought it was both for kids, both for girls, but okay. Yet the PDF gets off easy. Now, when she was in the video, she didn't say it was, multiple kids. It was just her kid. So I don't know. And the same thing with daughters. I always thought daughters had to be with an S. He was talking about multiple, because she said in the video he harmed 2 girls, both his girls, not just one. Anyways, thank you immensely for those who have donated to the GoFundMe. And that's how I found out she had a GoFundMe, because I had to scroll down a little bit more. I can now afford to hire a lawyer to fight the abuse in court, who is trying to get custody of the victims. So he's trying to get custody of his kids. If I hadn't made that video, I would still be in the same powerless position, trying to fight a man who has much more resources than I do, which is a scary place to be in. So let's touch on that last part right here. Thank you immensely to those who have donated to the GoFundMe. I can now afford to hire a lawyer to fight my husband in court, who is trying to get custody of his victims. If I hadn't made that video, I would still be in the same powerless position, trying to fight a man who has much more resources than I do, which is a scary place to be in. And this is what I mean when she talks. When you get past the emotion of what happened to children, you start questioning things, right? And I'm not being heartless, because I know and have been part of that abuse system also. But I gotta think about this. This is a woman who's used to being kept. This is a woman who had a $90,000 a year job and has left it. This is a woman who's irresponsible with money. Who's to say that her husband just got tired of it and wanted to leave because he's 20 years older than her, and he got tired of funding her? So instead of, hey, let me go ahead and just get a job, get sports or whatever else, I'm going to go ahead and destroy his reputation, which would make it a lot harder to get his kids, and use that revenue to help fight him. Because, you know, a YouTube video of over 2 million views, that's some good money in the pocket right there. And then she has to GoFundMe money too on top of that. And she didn't really say when she left him. So that part right there, that last paragraph, it doesn't sit right with me. Thank you immensely to those who have donated to the GoFundMe. I can now afford to hire a lawyer to fight my husband in court, who is trying to get custody of his victims. If I hadn't made the video, I would still be in the same powerless position, trying to fight a man who has more resources than I do, which is a scary place to be in. Am I the only one that's questioning that? Anyways, she ends it by, please stop being so insensitive. Jesus will have the final say. And then when I scrolled down some more, I saw the link to the whole entire GoFundMe. This is a crazy, horrible situation to be in. Again, I know and have been a victim myself, so I understand how hard it is and how traumatizing all this can be. But I've also seen plenty of times where men have had false accusations made about them just because they wanted to move on and leave their woman. I don't know. Time will tell and see. I hope she wouldn't use her kids as revenge. I just hope that no matter what's going on, the kids are safe. And I'll leave it at that. If you still watched, I know this was extremely long, like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you.